Hello guys, and welcome back for another episode of PHP programming series. Here we are going to discuss PHP loops after the conditional control statements. So when you are using PHP loops, you must already know the the operators. That's from episode number 3 and then the episode number 4, because the PHP loops episode needs the true and false statement, a true or false block, and you need also the condition. Alright, so let's define what is a PHP loop. So PHP loop executes a block of code over a specified number of times, or while a specified condition is true, or the same block will go to run over and over again. What's the purpose of uh, having PHP loops? Having a PHP loops in your program that allows you to create uh, create codes to run specific number of times. You don't need to copy and paste this code again and again just to run a number of times. So you use looping methods so that you can control how many times it will execute and how many times, or what will be the iterations for it to stop or before a condition is false, because the loops will continue until the condition is true. Alright, so you need to have an else there. You need to have a false statement for the loop to stop, because you need to avoid infinite loop. Alright, so an infinite loop that repeats indefinitely and never terminates is called an infinite loop. So most of the time we create infinite loops by mistake. So infinite loops never stops, right? That is what we call, that is the reason why we call this one an infinite. Now, having infinite loops running in your, or part of your web development, it could eat your CPU usage and cause your browser to stop responding. It's because it continues processing while the program is running, because the code never stops. Every time we run a PHP code, it eats a little bit of your CPU usage of your computer. So that's quite very little usage when running programs. But an infinite loop, it really eats up your CPU usage. So you need to be very careful avoiding or implementing infinite loops. Now we have 4 looping statements that we will be discussing today, except for each, because the for each will be discussed further in the arrays episode. So the episode 6 will be the arrays, like that, and then we will have it the HTML, the web forms. We will interact PHP with web forms. So the first type of loop that we are going to discuss is the while loop. So its definition loops through a block of code but a specified condition is true. So let's grab the definition. So I already created the files here so that we can work on. Now should have a comment in there. There. Now we have a while loop. I'm going to adjust window a little bit. There, way better. So that's for the while loop. Alright, so an extension of the while loop is this one, right? The value of the expression is checked each time at the beginning of the loop. Alright, so the loop will stop when the expression returns false. So that is what we have, or that is what we meant by having a while loop. And also the while loop is also the simplest type of loop in PHP, right? So also used when fetching multiple what do you mean with this? Multiple results from a database from MySQLi functions. Like we will discuss this a little bit in advance because we are talking about the basic things. So we need to, before we go into that, the MySQLi functions, we need also to have a series on how to use the SQL, the basic SQL, then basic database, no, just for a start. Then we go back to a PHP to perform how to create database, how to interact PHP with database. Alright. So what is the syntax? So the syntax of the while loops is pretty basic. So there's a while here, then a condition, then you can have the statements. Statements or the true block, right? Now we will have an example, right? Oops, sorry for that, I might have opened the GitHub. We'll discuss that one also, it will be covered also on the topic. So example of a while loop. Now we have here a variable I, because variable I is quite common to be used in loopings and basic loops. So we have I is equal to 1, and then we have a while here, it is I less than equals to 5. Then we have echo the number is variable I, then br, and then we have the variable I plus plus. Now why do we have an iteration there? Why do we need the increment decrement operators? Why is that? Why do we need that one? It's because we need the loop to stop, to stop preventing execution of the infinite loop. So that is a thing that we need to avoid. So what is performed here is that we are going to echo this variable I 5 times, right? So the look around of this program will be, is I greater than equal to 5? That is true, right? So it will execute. Now this is the first loop, so we will check the results on the while loop. Oh yeah, I haven't saved. I must have clicked. I'm in the for loop page. Just grab that one and then paste it in the while here. So the reason why it displays 5 times, you are having a single echo statement there. It's because it loops 5 times. Now here is what it goes. So in line 19 we have an explanatory there that is 1 less than 5, that is equal to true. Let's make it align it there. There, right. So when this expression, or when this condition is true, like what we have discussed, this is like more on an if statement, right? So when it is true, then the true block, like this one, will be executed. Alright, so when it is executed, the echo becomes, or the number is 1 is executed. So what is the value of the I++ here? The value is, let's move this down for a little bit. I'll put this above, right there. Now, what is the value there? The value is I. Now remember, we have what we have discussed, that is a post decrement. So getting the value of I, then you add that by 1. So since it is post decrement, so it is 1 plus 1, right? We have that. So that is 1, you add it by 1. So the answer is 2. Since the loop is true, it will continue until it finds false. So the next value will be is 2. Now the new value of I there now will become 2. So it's 2 less than 5, or less than or equal to 5, still true. Then you have the number is 2 when it outputs. So down below, still 2 plus 1. What is the value of that? It becomes 3. The variable I will become 3. So the value of I become 3 will be part of the condition, because 3 less than equal to 5, which is true again. And then same goes all over again. So we have 3 plus 1 becomes 4. Then the 3 is done. So another one is, so since it's 4, so 4 less than equal to 5, still true. Then we have a 4 plus 1, that is 5. Now here, still it continues to loop. What is 5 less than equal to 5? Still a true statement. Alright, still a true statement. So when the value is 5, the I is 5, the is 5 less than equal to 5, it's true, then you have that number 5 over there. Then on the iteration area, we have 5 plus 1, that is now 6. So it arrives at number 6, or the value of variable I, then this will happen, 6 less than equal to 5. Now if you are being asked this condition is 6 less than equal to 5, then that is false. Now it is arrived in the false when the loop detects a false expression there, or a condition has resulted to false, then the loop will stop. Alright, so that is how the while loop works. The all looping, the for loop, the while loop, and the do while loop works the same until they find a false there, then it would stop. Right, so let's try to see what will happen if we commented out, or we remove the iteration there. So let's save this one and then refresh here. As you have seen, it continues to load. This is what we call the infinite loop. Now if you ever see it in your task manager, there, see that one? That is the spike. No, that is the spike of the CPU. So it's eating 30%, 29%, 30%. Or you can just right click it here, task manager, then you hit the browser. You can see that the CPU usage is eating up almost 100%, right? It's only a single file. So my processor is a AMD Ryzen 5 2400G, and then I have a video card 1050 Ti, and the 16 gigs of RAM. That's okay. I can still do multiple things, but it's eating your processor. It's eating the power of your computer. So the only thing to stop is just click this X. No? Even though I click that X button, the stop button, it takes a while to stop the execution. So this is after, right? So this is the after. Now let's try to run the loop again. You will see that this is the spike. Alright, this is the graph, around 30%, right? So it's maintained that way. So let's try to stop there. Notice that spike over there. Yeah, the graph goes to the normal CPU usage there, right? So this is only just a simple looping program, but dealing with infinite loops is quite risky. So when you write loop, if you have a program that involves looping methods or looping structures, be very careful on using that one, right? So that is for the while. So this goes across all of the looping methods. So let's proceed to the do while. So let's grab the definition of the do while, and then we are going to extend that of the further. Alright, we have here on this sample, we have a while, the loops. I'm gonna have the while here, and then on the do while. Now the do while loops a block of code once, then repeats a loop as long as a specified condition is true. Now let's have the PHP code here. Let's put the definition like there. So this is the do while. Now in do while, it's going to extend this definition of do while. Now do while is similar to while loop, except the condition is later checked right at the end of the each loop instead of from the first run. So another is the difference is that the first loop is guaranteed to run, right? That's do while. It's first guaranteed to run, right? So if you have a condition there that's guaranteed to run it once, then that's the do while loop. Now the syntax for the do while loop, let's tackle that syntax. So we have the do, right? Sorry for that, do. Then we have statements, we have the true block, then we have the while, then we have put the condition in here, that one. So it's quite different. So the do while and the while works pretty much the same, but on this statement, do while works a guaranteed do first. So let's do the example from, let's copy the example from the while loop. So we have do, right? So we have do, this is echo the number is, so let's have a variable I outside. Let's find one. Now the number is that one, then add a br here, right? So this is completely normal. So we have an I plus plus here, and then we have the while that is variable I is less than equal to 5. So let's run this thing. Now we have the same. Now that is the do while. Alright. So what is happening here, that is that the first run is just simply no loop. So do this first, then you perform the other loop. So the loop is happening at the end, right? So if you are confusing with the while, the number is 1 is not part of the loop, right? It's not the part. That's iteration, right? Let's name this as iteration, right? So on the I equals 1, we have, now let's have a run through of this individually. So here the answer was already, we know that one is already 1, right? So that's the reason why the number is 1 is already displayed. Now same with the while. Now this is the iteration, so this is a post decrement, right? So since that is 1, we have 1 plus 1, it becomes 2. Just add 1, and then on the while area we have 2 less than equal to 5. That is what happening on the do while loop. So let's continue the example, right? So of course the loop runs when the statement is true, when the condition is true. So let's go back on the first. So the I becomes what? This becomes 2, and then we have 2 plus 1, so this will go over. So the number is 2, you have the number is 2, you have the while there, you have sorry for that, we have 3 less than equal to 5, then output 3. I'm just going to copy and paste the spaces blanks, make it more faster. The number is 3 is now displayed. We have we have 3 plus 1 is equal to 4. We have 4 less than equal to 5. Alright, so 4 less than equal to 5. Then we have this number 4. That's you have seen it. The number is 4. We have 4 plus 1. We have 5. Then the last, it's not yet the last loop because it continues to run the condition 5 less than equal to 5. This is still correct. Then go back to the do. We have, sorry, I forgot to paste that one to the 5. Then we have 5 plus 1, then we have 6. So the last thing, we have 6 as an equal to 5, then that will result to false. Okay, this will be true. 3 less than equal to 5 is still true. 4 less than equal to 5 is still true again, then this is also true. Right. So the only difference between the do while and the while loop is that they will continue. The while will start at the loop. So if you have a false condition at the first run already on the while loop, it will just not display. No output message, is just nothing. On the do while loop, if you have a false condition already at the first place, then the do will be executed on the first iteration. It is guaranteed to run. Now let's take so that is the do while loop. If you have questions, just hit it in the comments section. So don't forget, guys, to like, share, and subscribe. We have more series to come. We have SQL. We have SQL. We are going to use MySQL. We are going to work with the workbench, how to model, how to have primary key, how to have foreign key. We also have basic JavaScript, basic jQuery, and then later on the advanced section, we're going to have how to the first CRUD project using PHP MySQL. No, let's focus on those things first. So most of my tutorials, I assume you already know how to use Bootstrap. There's a lot of tutorials out there on YouTube, how to use HTML5, CSS3. I'm a huge Bootstrap fan, so in the future discussions I'm going to use Bootstrap to have this presentation. But today, just plain basic, no CSS involved, just a little bit of HTML. I think that would do. Now, another type of loop we have is the for loop, right? So the for loop does the same, but it's quite different across all the loops. Now, what we have here, let's go back to the loops. So the for loops, this will loop through a block of code once, and then repeats the loop as long as the specified condition is true. It's pretty much the same for the while, right? So pretty much the same with the while loop. So I'm going to grab the definition, we're going to extend that one. Let's go to the syntax and we'll go over the example. I'm going to use a sample so that the same example of each series, right? Now, definition, another extended definition. This is used when you know in advance how many times the statement should run, right? So that is the for. So for once, for twice, for thrice. It depends on how many codes or how many iterations that you want, what will be the stopping number, what will be the what will be the what will be the factor for you to have a false condition. So what will be the syntax? It is very interesting, right? So I'm more of a, for my preference, I'm more on a while loop person, right? I'm a big fan of the while loop, but when things go wrong, I could use for loop. You can, anyway, you have that preference on what loops do you want to use, but I'm more on a while loop because it's simple, right? Some people use do while loop because it's simple. Some are using for loops. It's a matter of preference. So we have the for, yeah, then we have expression 1, right? So expression 2, then expression 3, sorry for that, expression 3, right, that one. And then we have the code in here, the true the statement, and this is the true block. Now the expression 1, right? This is the counter, your own counter, or the starting point, starting number, right? So the expression 1 could be the I equals 1 that we have in there. Now your expression 2 is your condition. Right, same definition with the conditions. So continues to loop when true, stops when false. That's what we mean by the expression 2. Now on the expression 3, the expression 3 is quite different, right? Now the expression 3 is the iterations, right? The iterations factor, that's my own definitions, could be increment or decrement, right? Pre or post, right? So that is the how the for loop works. So let's dive into the example. Now the example for that is you're gonna type for, then Atom have already the auto-complete, so when you press tab there, boom, you have that already, the thing here. So quite sketchy, but let's do it manually. So for, if you're used to have a autocomplete, so you just type for, then press tab. Same goes for the for each. We discussed that one also, but we will focus on the loops for the meantime. No, we will focus on for each when we have the arrays discussion. So we have the for. Now our expression 1 will be I equals 1 based on the other examples. You have that semicolon there. So we have also next I is less than or equal to 5, comma I plus plus. Quite sketchy, right? Quite sketchy. Then you just simply have the echo. The number is variable I br. Pretty simple. That's how it is. You're done. When we see the loops, the for loop, it performs the same. It performs. The for loop is quite organized because you're going to put that in a single parenthesis, that you have this expression 1, you have the expression 2, you have the expression 3 compressed in one space. So let's do the workaround for this thing. So I'm going to use a multi-line comment for that one. Now for the first iteration we have, that is 1. So that is a starting number, so that's 1. It will display, then it's compared to 1, this is 5, that is true. Then we have 1 plus 1, that becomes 2, right? So this is a post increment already. So the first is run, right? The I equals 1 is run only at the first thing. So alright, I'm going to execute 1, it will display. Now the second part, the I becomes 2, right? So that will be 2 less than 5. Still true. So we have 2 plus 1, that becomes 3. As you have noticed, it is already looped through. Now number 3 there will become 3 is less than or equal to 5. Is that true or false? Still true, because it is true. Oh, how come 3 is larger than 5? So that is 4. Still the I becomes number 4. Variable I becomes 4. Then we have 4 less than or equal to 5. Still true. So add the iteration from 5. So I becomes 5. Then 5 is less than or equal to 5. Right? So 5 plus 1 equals 6. So now variable I is now becomes the value of 6. Now what we have here is we have 6 less than or equal to 5. Is it true or false? It false. False. So what is happening on the iteration? It will stop. Alright, it will stop. Because the iteration cannot perform 6 plus 1. On the condition if detects a false there, then it will simply stop running the program. The script will stop. PHP program will also stop. Alright, so let's have a recap. The while loop is the simplest form of loop. This is my favorite thing to do. We have a do while. The do is executed at first, then perform the while loop, and then the for loop is quite the same with the do while. What's important is when you have that code, you avoid this you avoid this thing what we call the infinite loop. You avoid that one. You have to plan out your algorithms, identify your parameters, identify what will be the value that you need to use for the looping. Alright, because when you use looping, it's not limited by numbers. So you can, well, most likely in numbers. Loops involves numbers, because you say how many times. You say many, that indicates number. Alright, so I think this is it. So thank you very much, guys, for seeing this episode. We will look each other on episode number, I think number 6. That is arrays. We will discuss about arrays, and then on the episode 7 we are going to discuss when do we use the get super global variables. We are going to use that one. Then web forms, yes, very exciting. We're going to have that web forms and examples. We're going to have an individual examples in that one. I think at most 5 examples. Then we go to database design, logical design, and the physical design, which are very important for you guys. So we have just basic. We're going to have an address book, how to create a simple login. So just all basic things. We will jump into advanced when things are all okay. Ajax also, we're going to discuss that one also when we completed the things, comparing the PHP norm and the Ajax form, the advantage of that, the disadvantage of that. We discuss that one also. So don't forget to subscribe for this one, so that you will have the complete package. Although there are lots of tutorials out there, but well, this is discussed very thoroughly. Sorry for my English is not that good, but I'm trying my best to have nothing wrong grammar. So thank you very much, guys, for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. This is Pagkalagan. See you on the next episode.